So we're going to make a very simple 3D infinite runner. Okay. So let's start with the platforms because we'll have platforms without traps and platforms with traps. So let's make some platforms first. Start with the cube here, but my space is in 2D for some reason. Okay, let's make sure it's on 0, 0, 0 on the position, so now we can see it. And let's say like 5 by 5 size. Now let's reposition the camera a little bit. We'll put it like that, and then rotate it also a little bit on the x-axis, something like that. So this, let's say this is the one without traps. Also, um, let's make some materials for the platforms. I have some materials here. The platforms are black. Call this normal platform. Now duplicate this and make some traps. Trap platform. Okay, let's activate the normal one. Okay. Now I'd like to save this as prefabs here. Make a folder for this. Say platform. Actually, let's go. Okay, so save this as a prefab. So now we can open it as a prefab and edit it. So let's say for the trap for this one, we have a cube that goes from left to right and changes directions when it reaches the edge. For that, we need some collider so that that cube will collide with the collider and change direction. So we'll have two colliders, one to the left and one to the right. So we'll make some. Actually, let's make a 3D object, a cube. We want to position it exactly on the edge. But once it was oh, below somehow. I don't know why it is. Oh yes, my bad. It is positioned incorrectly. Like that. And you notice that this is the same size, and the reason is because the scale, even though it's 1, 1, 1 here, it's relative to the parent. So if you want to make it smaller, we have to divide the x and the z. So if I divide it by exactly the size that the parent has, like that, now you see it's actually 1 in scale in world space, but it's 0.2 relative to the parent. That's just as an idea. So I want to position this exactly on the edge. Oh, wait. Yes, my bad. Okay. Okay. Make it a bit bigger and taller. Okay. Now we can duplicate this and put it on the other side. So here on the position, we'll just multiply this with minus, so it's on the other side. Then we don't even need graphics for this. Okay. We can remove the uh, uh, mesh renderer here. We'll just reposition this a little bit and remove the renderer and the mesh filter. Now we have this. Um, We can use physics, I guess, for this. We'll name this to edge colliders. And also, let's give this a category here. A tag, call them edge collider. Okay, now we need to make the cube that will go from left to right. Let's make a cube. Because in the chat, again, we have to divide by the length here to make it of size 1. Okay, so now we have this. We give it another, let's say, red is for traps. We also have a collider here, that's okay. And we'll have a rigid body. So rigid body gives physics to the object. We'll freeze rotation everywhere because we don't want this to rotate. Also, we'll freeze Y and Z because we'll move it on the X. And even kinematic. We set this rigid body to kinematic. So kinematic means it will not be, it cannot interact physically with other objects. It will only be moved by script. We want to move this by script. Now let's create a script for this that will move this. So let's say cube trap. Let's say cube trap. And if you have questions, please stop me at any point. This will take around an hour to finish. I hope you're still here. Okay. So we'll make a script that will place the script on the cube, move it from left to right. And then we'll have another trap, and we'll just have 2 traps for this. And after we finish the simple version, if you want, I can show you how to change, because we'll use a sphere as the player. I'll show you how to change that to a character. Take a second to create the script. Okay. So for this, we need the rigid body component that is on the cube. So we'll say rigid body RB. Also, we need a move speed, which will make public. So public means you can see it in the inspector. So float. So float means real number. So move speed. In the start function, so this here, the start function, whatever you put inside here happens at the beginning of the script. It happens once before the update. And the update here happens every visual frame, whatever you put inside. So at the start, we want to get the rigid body because we created a variable, but there's nothing in it. So we'll say RB equal get component rigid body, and this will look for this here will look for the rigid body, and if there is a rigid body on the object, we'll return it and place it in the variable. So now we have the rigid body, and let's say by default it, or actually we can create a 50-50% chance. So in the beginning, it will have a 50% chance to move to the left and 50% chance to move to the right. So let's create a random number from 0 to 1. So we'll say int random int, okay, or random range 0, and let's see, for integers it's exclusive, so we'll say 2. So this here will create a random between 0 and 1. And with this, we'll create a 50-50 chance to move it to the left or the right. So now we check if this random int is bigger than 0. Then we say the velocity of that cube equal to move speed times vector 3 right. And else we move it another direction. So here we say left, vector 3 left. So now we created a 50-50 chance. We don't need the update, we just need the on collision function. So on collision enter this here, whatever you put inside here happens when you collide physically with something. So, but we don't want to do stuff on every collision. We only want to do this if you collide with the edge collider. So we say if collision dot compare tag edge collider. Oh, we have an issue because I think this is a collider. We need the object, game object. Okay, so we check if the object that we collided with here is an edge collider. In that case, we change direction. So we say RB linear velocity times, because you can either say this equal to so we can say it like this, or the shorter version is we just say equal and then multiply it here, and this will change direction. But we have an issue here. Oh, my bad. Yes. So minus so we changed the velocity to the opposite. And now let's test it, see if it works. Okay, let's see if that works. Oh, first let's make sure the colliders have the tag. Also, we'll give the trap cube the enemy tag. Or actually not enemy, my bad. Say trap. Oh, it doesn't work, my bad. We need to give it a speed and the script. I forgot what the script. So here we got the script first. Maybe some speed. Try again. Seems that we have an error here. Sets near velocity of kinematic body is not supported. Okay. Let me see. If I say it's not supported, why? Okay, let's try make it not kinematic here and no gravity. Let's try it without Okay, now it works. But you see it collided with the wall there and did not change direction. Because it touches the wall and because it's not kinematic, so it does interact physically. That means when it touches the wall, it stops. That stops the movement. So when we say here linear velocity equal minus linear velocity, it doesn't work because the velocity is 0 because it touched the wall. So we have to reset it in another way here. So let's have a bool for this. Okay, we'll say this is a private bool. Let's say we'll call it moves right. Okay. And at the start, if it moves to the right here, we say it's true. And if it moves to the left, we say it's false. So with this, we know if we're moving to the left or the right. And here we'll change the direction depending on that bool instead. So we'll say if it moves right, change the velocity, move to the right, and else move to the left. Also, this because now it's not kinematic. When it touches the player, also it will stop the movement. But I don't think that's a problem because if it touches the player, then it's game over. Okay, did not change direction. Oh, I made a mistake here. Here left, here right. Oh, and also another thing, we need to add another line of code here. So here we update the velocity, but now we're moving to the left, so moves right equal false here. And here else, so if we're moving to the left, we now move to the right, and move to the right is true. I'm sorry, but I don't know why I have this issue with the kinematic rigid body. Okay, so you see now it works. It's a bit fast in the big cube. So we reduce the speed a little bit and the size as well. Okay. I'll save this prefab. I'll delete it from the assets and now let's drag this here. Also the normal platform. And for now, let's just have one trap. We'll add more later. Also, these platforms, let's have a holder for this. So this way we don't see a bunch of platforms here in the hierarchy. Okay. I think my camera is positioning correctly here. Okay, like that. So at the start, we'll create some platforms. There are some platforms by default there. So we'll move by 5 units because it's 5 by 5. Let's add a couple of platforms. Okay, let's say 4 is enough. Then let's create a script that, because this is a very simple game, we'll have just one script that will control everything. I'll call it infinite. We'll make an empty object for the script. And please let me know if you have questions in the chat. We'll use a sphere as the player. So we have an empty object for the script. infinite script. Add that there. Let's make the player also. Player. Wait, no, need a sphere. Okay. This one will have a rigid body as well. Or actually, no, it will not have a. Okay, rigid body, I guess. Kinematic, no rotation. Freeze the positions, X and Y, Z now, because we'll move it on the Z. Okay, let's change the color of this. Make sure this is close to the platform. Something like this. Also, let's make sure this is in the center of the platform. So the platform is 5 by 5. Oh wait, it is okay. So it is exactly in the middle, I think. Okay. Let's put the player tag on this. We'll move it by script, so we don't need the rigid body. I only have this here so that the collision happen correctly with the traps. So okay, let's start working on the script. For this, we need the transform of the player. So we say public player transform. We also need to know where we spawn our next platform. So when the player moves forward by one platform, we also spawn a platform at the end. And right now that point is the last one plus 5, so 20 on the Z. So we'll save that position. We'll say here public vector 3 platform spawn. Okay. Also, I will make when we spawn a platform, the platform will have a little animation. It will spawn below and will move upwards. Also, when the player moves forward, the platform that was the previous platform will be removed with an animation as well. So here we need to know we need an array of the possible platforms. So we say public game object array like that, and then platforms, platform or platforms platform prefabs. Now let's make a function. We call it player controls, or not. We don't really need a function. In update, we can say if we check for input, we say input get key down, key code space. So that means we check every frame if the space key is pressed down. So this will happen once at the exact moment that the key is pressed down. And here we want to move our player, but only if it is not moving already. So we'll have a bool player is moving. By default in the start is false. And because we'll move the player over time, we'll use a coroutine to move it. We have to make a coroutine here. So I enumerated means coroutine. Okay, move there. So now we need to know where we move the player and where we start the movement. So we start at the position that we have right now. So we'll say here vector3 start position equal to the position that the player has right now. So player transform that position, and the end point will be this plus the length of the platform, which is 5. So we'll say here vector3 and position equal start position plus vector3 forward times in this case 5. But if we want this to work for any platform, we can have a variable here. We can have a float platform length, and we can use that instead. So it works this way. It works for any length. And now I'll make I will show you a for loop that counts time, which is a bit confusing for beginners, but I'll try my best. Let me write it first and then I'll explain it. Also, let's make a float that will represent the duration of this animation. So float, let's say duration, say 1, let's say 1 for now. Move duration. Okay, I'll write it first and then I'll explain it. Okay, so basically what this does here is over time it moves the player from the starting position to the end position. Okay, so let me explain this. So you know that usually for loops, we use for loops to repeat some process an amount of times. And usually we use an integer to do that. But here we have a float, so a real number. We start from 0, you see, we go to 1. So when this reaches 1, it stops. And then here, each time we loop through this, we add the time difference between frames here to that t. So in other words, we count seconds. So if we just consider this part here, that means the for loop will last 1 second. But we want this to last a specified amount of seconds. So then we take this time difference between frames here and we divide it by a number. So that way, this will last that amount of time. And the reason this t goes from 0 to 1 here is because we use a function that will use this t to go from the start position and end position. So we use this function here, vector3 lerp. So what this does is it selects a value between a starting point and an ending point by a third parameter here. That's from 0 to 1. So if this here is 0, let's say right now, then we're at the starting position. If it is 1, we're at the end. And if it's between, then we're somewhere in between. So for example, if it's 0.5, then we're exactly between these 2 points. So that's how this works. And this line here, yield return on, means wait 1 frame, wait 1 visual frame. If you don't do this, we get an error. See, because in a coroutine you have to wait some time, even if it's a frame. So now we move the object from the starting position to the end position, and at the end we want to make sure that it is at the end position. Reason is this t goes to almost 1, not 1. I'll make sure it's at the end, the right position at the end. Also here, when we start this process, we want to say that the player is moving here. So we say it's moving. It's true. And at the end, after that, we're not moving anymore, so we say it's false. So with this, we know if this is running. And here we only move the player if it is not moving already. So we'll have an if here that checks if the player is moving. So we say if it's not moving, this is the not operator. So if it's not moving, then we check for input. And if there is input, we start this coroutine. So we say start coroutine, move player. Okay, so now this should work after we add the player transform. I hope. Did you understand that? I know it's a bit complicated. A little, okay. So again, here we see every frame, we check if it's not moving. In that case, we can move it, so we check for the spacebar here. If we press spacebar, we start this. And while this is running, we cannot do this anymore because this will be false here. Okay, so let's add the stuff that we need. We need the player transform. We need the platform spawn, which will be 20 on the Z. Let's add our platforms here. Now we have just two. Platform length, it's 5 in this case. So now, even though it's not, the platforms do not spawn, we should be able to move the player over time. Let's see. Yeah, you see, it does work. It's a bit slow, but it does work. Okay. So it seems to be slow, a bit slow. Actually, let's not put this float here. Let's have it at the beginning so we can modify it in the inspector. So instead we'll say public float player move speed, and then we'll or not the move speed, move duration. We'll put that here. Okay, change it to the inspector. So now every time we move the player, we want to spawn a platform. So we can either have this with an animation or not. I'm thinking whether to have an animation or not. Let's keep it simple. We'll add later. We'll add an animation later. So at the end of this, we can spawn our platform. But also we'll have score. Let's have a float that an integer that will represent the score. Private. So by default, the score will be 0. And here at the end of the movement of the player, we say plus plus. We add 1 to the score. And we don't want to have a trap we don't want to have a trap next to another trap. So we'll have one normal platform, and after that platform we have a trap platform. So depending on the score, we either spawn a normal platform or a platform with a trap. So after we add the score here, we check if that score is divisible by 2. So we say if that score divided by 2 is 0. So basically this means if this is divisible by 2, let's say we spawn a normal platform. So we say instantiate. So instantiate means spawn. Let's say the first one is the normal platform. So we get the first one from our array of platforms. We spawn it at the spawn point, platform spawn. No rotation, so quaternion identity, that means 0, 0, 0 on the rotation. Now we have to change the spawn. So we add the length of the platform to the spawn. So plus equal vector 3 forward times platform length. I'll put this in parentheses. Make sure it adds. I want to make sure it adds the whole thing. But actually we do it regardless of what platform it is. So we'll put it outside of the if. So we'll have this else here, meaning if it's not, the score is not divisible by 2, we spawn a trap platform. Right now we have just one, so we say it's the second one in the array, but if we add more, we'll make a random number that we select a random platform. I think that's it. Now we need to see the score somewhere. So I'll make a canvas with a text that will represent the score. So UI canvas. Let's make sure it stretches with screen size. You almost never want to have constant pixel size here. Reference Full HD. So let's add a text here. Go to the canvas here, in 2D mode, so you can see it in 2D. Okay. I hope this is helpful for you. Let me know if what. Okay. We cannot see the text because it's white on white. I can also show you how to change the skybox. So if you want to change the skybox, you go here, window, lighting. Let me see, where is it? Yes, lighting. Here you have environment, and here you have the skybox materials here. I don't know if I have skybox actually. Doesn't seem, I don't seem to have I don't think I have one. Okay, I'll show you this when we're finished, when we make this playable. So for the text, we'll make it black right now. Or not black, we'll make it purple or something. Okay, we call this core text. And now we can create a TMP text variable here. We'll say using TMP Pro, that's the new text in Unity. So make it public TMP text, score text. And now when we get score, we update it. After we add the score here, we say score plus equal score text, or actually not score text equal score to string. So we take that integer and convert it to a string and update the text. Let's see if it works. Okay. Oh, we have an issue here. Let's see. Line 56. Oh, yes, I made a mistake. The mistake is, actually, we have two mistakes. One is the script, the speed of the player is 0. So that means it moves instantly. So this should be a value, okay, 0.7. And also we do not have the text here. We have to drag our text in the script. Okay, you see, now the platform do spawn, but the issue is the camera stays does not move with the player. Also, there's an empty platform there. I don't know why. So first, let's take the camera and make it a child of the player. So that way it moves with the player. Maybe even place it a little bit closer to the player. Yeah, let's try again. So now the camera moves with it, but normal platforms do not spawn for some reason. Normal platforms do not spawn. Let's see why that is. Because we do have the normal oh yes. Okay, I made a mistake here. It is not enabled. That was the issue. Uh, Now we also have another issue, which is there's the it's not game over when we touch trap. So on the player, which on the player we should check for collision. But what we can do is we can put the script on the player. So we can either have a separate script on the player that checks for the collision, or we can change this a little bit and put it on the player. Um, I'll make a separate one. We'll say runner there. So on this one we check for collision here. So on collision enter to the on collision enter. Also we want to connect this to the main script. So we'll have a infinite runner. We'll call it main script. So you see, once we create a script, we can have variables of that type. So the first thing here after we collide, we want to check if it is a trap. So we'll say if collision, if what we collided with is a trap, we want to destroy that trap. So we'll say destroy. And also destroy. Let's keep it simple. We'll destroy the player as well. And also we'll have a UI to restart the game. Maybe I'll go to let's have a restart button. But for that we have to create it first. So we'll go to the canvas. Also the text here does not have anchors. So anchors are these here that let you stretch and position the UIs so that they're the same on all resolutions. So that's for the text. Now we'll have a panel that lets us restart the game. Something like that. Then on this we'll have a button. That's the restart button. So here we start game. Oh, we don't even need this panel, I think. Oh yeah, I guess not. Okay, so let's call this game over panel and that restart button. Now the same, we have to place the anchors here. So it's always in the same place regardless of the resolution. Same for this button. Actually, for this one, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary, I'll just place them anyway. And in the game here, we want a couple of things. First, we need a variable for the panel, the whole panel. Say public game object, game over panel. Also, let's have a bool that will let us know that it is game over. So we'll say game over here. By default is false, or no, it's not game over by default. And then here in the on the player, when we collide with trap, we see that now in the main script, say that bool game over is, but you see it doesn't work because it is private. This needs to be public to access it from another script. So let's say public before that. So we make it true. And now also here we have these we have the controls only if it's not game over. So we say if it's not game over and the player is not moving. Okay, and also we enable that panel when it's game over. So we say main script that game over panel that active true. And then for the button, so when we click the restart button, we want to restart this scene. But for that, okay, let's see if I can do it. Unity Engine, we need to import Unity Engine scene management. And then we need a function that will restart the game. Needs to be public so we can place it on the button. Okay, scene manager, load scene. And then here, let's see if it works with the string. Okay, and now on the button here, on click, we add that function. So we first have to select the object with that function, which is the main script. And then here we select the function, which is restart game. And this will be disabled by default. We enable it when we collide with the trap. Also, we have to add this to the script because it's not added here. Okay, let's see. It works. Okay, we did collide with that, but nothing happened. And the reason is we forgot to add the script to the player. I forgot what it. Okay, let's try one more time. Oh, I sorry. I have to stop it again because we need if you load a scene, this needs to be in the build settings. Okay, so we have to add this here. And After this, we'll go to the code again. If you want, I can explain it one more time. Okay, we have a null reference. You see, that is because the script of the on the player has this infinite runners variable, but there's nothing in it. So we have to make it public and drag our script into that in the inspector. That's the most common error in Unity. You have stuff that's missing. Okay. We do have another error, which happens because um, it happens because the script here is still uh, it happens because we destroyed the player while this coroutine is running. And here we tried to change the position of the player, but there's no player, so we get the null ref because it doesn't exist anymore. So here let's check in this for loop if the player still exists. So we say if transform of the player is different than null. So if it still exists, we do this. We move it. If not, we close the coroutine completely. We say yield, but let's see if we can do it another way. It would be better if we just use the stop coroutine function. Let's see if it works. So there's a function that stops a coroutine. Because the thing is, okay, I guess we can use an if here. Sorry. So we say if it's different than null, if it exists, we move it, move the player. If not, we stop this coroutine. So we say else yield break. Yield break means we stop this coroutine. And then if it continues after this, so if the player did exist and we moved it, also here we check again if it's different than null. But we don't have to verify further because this will happen in one frame, I think. This should happen in one frame. Yes, I think it's okay. And I will explain all of this at the end again. Let's see if it works now. Yes, now it does work, but we have an issue because we also delete the camera, okay? Because the camera is a child of the player. So when we collect the trap, we also have to deparent the camera. So before we destroy the player here, you see this is this one here. We destroy the player. Before that, we need to deparent the camera. So we'll say transform get child 0. So that's the first child that and the only one in this case of the player. We say that the parent of this is equal null. I mean, sorry, parent is equal. So now it's in world space, and we no longer delete it when we delete the player. Okay. Now you should not delete the account. Yes, you see? And then the restart button works as well. So that's we should probably by default make mod platforms at the beginning. So you see, that's it. So what do you think? So what do you think? Would you like me to explain everything again? No, that's okay. Okay. Uh, sure, my pleasure. But there are some things we can improve to this. So, for example, once we leave a platform, the player leaves a platform, we could have uh, we could make it make an animation that makes it drop, and for the platforms that we spawn. Uh, we can also have an animation. We can add a skybox, and also we can replace the player with a character if you want. How do you set the environment? What do you mean by environment? Also, I actually will show you how to add some how to add a skybox. Yes, that okay. Well, for that you first need the skybox itself. You can get it from the Unity Assets Store. So if you go to the Unity Assets Store, you can save assets, and if you do that, you can see them here. If you go to uh, My Assets here, let's see if I have some skyboxes. It's very simple. You just change it in the lighting settings. Sorry, just give me a sec. I don't know why it's not refreshing. Try again. Okay, let's take a small one if I can find one. See the smallest one here. Let's try this one. It's very small, but it doesn't let me for some reason. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, my bad. I should. I was in play mode. Okay, let's try again with the smallest one, so we don't wait too much. Let's see if it works. So we need, but okay, let's see if it works. So we have to go to Window, um, Rendering, Light, Environment, and then we drag this here. It should, yeah, you see. Now we have this here, and we should probably in the prefabs here change the color now that it is uh, completely black. Okay, let me change this. Now, okay, now that's too white now. Okay. So that's how you do it. You download those and just drag and drop them in the skybox setting. It's a material. The skybox you see here, it's the material. You take the material and drop it in the settings, and that's it. Yeah. So we could add another trap. We could add animations. We could add a character if you want. If not, then I guess that's it for today. So would you like me to add some stuff or? Okay, I hope that was Useful. I know I move a bit fast. I see. But if you want, I can explain it again. I'm sorry. I do go. Okay. If you have questions, we could talk. We could discuss with share screen. If you have a project and you need help, you don't have to to use the mic. You can use the chat. Like if you have questions about a project that you're working on. Okay. Okay then. Hope that was at least a bit useful. Yeah, sure. My pleasure. If you have questions, let me know, and I'll see you. And also happy Easter. See you.